Alright, I'm on hole number 2 of the Fuji Open. Let's go to Golf Clash Notebook and check out hole number 2. And I really like this hole. And the deal is that I'll be honest with you, and if you've watched my videos up to this point, I play this hole different than a lot of people are going to show you how to play this hole. And it's just because how I learned how to play this hole during one-on-one play. One-on-one play, I play with a Hornet. I don't. And now that we have multiple bags, you know, you could have a bag that has a thorn in it, especially if you were playing in 2 or 3 and you get to this hole, you can go, hey, this is the hole you really need backspin clubs, so I'm going to hit with a Hornet or a thorn. But the deal with the thorn is in order to be able to engage that backspin, you have to get further down into this hole. And I see a lot of people end up in the rough over here, and I see a lot of people, not as many as used to, but you see people that end up over here where they're trying to come around the corner and they either get caught up in the sand or they get caught up in this rough. So getting down in here so that you can get into range where your thorn can actually start off on the green is the difficult part, and a lot of times people will end up in the rough. So if you didn't bring a good club for getting out of that rough, the deal is that you're now, here's the opening to the green and you're over here. So you can't really kind of bring it back up. You've got to go at the green. And that can be a very tricky shot. So in one-on-one play, I just got used to just laying the ball up so that I could work my ball through the mouth right here, and it was a very easy hole. So like birdie eagle, you know, and I've won a lot of games on this just because it's a very consistent birdie. I mean, you're on the green, and it forces your opponent to actually make whatever shot they were trying to get out here. So I'm going to come at this with a quarterback, a katana, and a Hornet, and with any luck, that's all I'm going to need. I'm going to have to buy some katanas here. Let's buy 9 of them. Alright, quarterback, Hornet, katana. Hole number 2. And there's a lot of different ways you can play this. If you're playing in Masters, if you got the, or not Masters, but Expert, if you're playing an Expert, there is a max overpower shot that you can do to try and get up. I'm not sure if they've done any redesign on this or what the deal is, and you're more than likely going to have to use a 5-power ball in order to make it happen. I've tried it in Ricky, and I haven't been able to get out on the other side. And I'm not saying it's not possible for you to get out on the other side. It's just I haven't been able to do it. And so the thing for me is that in my game, is that it's not going to be a consistent shot. It's not going to be something that I can go, hey, when I get to this hole, I'm going to give myself a really good shot by doing this. It's very inconsistent, and you can end up in those trees, and there is an out-of-bound area over there. And so dropping a shot on something that would be an absolute guaranteed birdie is not really what I'm looking for either. Okay, so we're going to use a katana. Coming out into this area right here. I'm going to use a couple backspin. I want to be a little more towards the center. I don't want to take any risks here. 4-1, so I'm going to do a 4-1 pull. This club is 1 per ring. I'm not going to do any allowance for over hitting it perfect. Just trying to lay it up there. There's a tree down here. And I'm trying to get, there's a little hollow spot right there. See, when you came up, you can see that transitional line in the grass for where they do it. And here's that tree. That's exactly where I want to be. I've got about as good a opening to this mouth right here as you can get, and be past that tree. So my red line here is going to be right in this area right here, a little bit below where our opponent's at. I didn't quite get as much as our opponent did. And that's because I'm not really trying to work my way around that corner. Where it was set up originally, and I moved it over a little bit more to the center of the fairway. And that's because on this hole, I'm doing all of this because I want to take this shot. So this shot here, I'm going to do a 10% wind adjustment. You can see where my red line is. I'm right here at my red line. That's exactly where I want to be. That's max side spin, and maybe about a half a backspin. You can towards maybe 3/4. Trying to look at where the ball's going, and it is going to take a little bit, so it's 3-4. My Hornet's 1.1 per ring, so it's about a 3-ring pool. And now the goal is just to hit it perfect. And hit it great to the left. This hole has been breaking my heart. The last time I was in a tournament, I'll bet you that I wasn't farther than 0.4 away from the hole. And yesterday in the practice round, it's the same thing. I'm all over this hole. I'm just waiting for one of those to drop. It's just that close, just that close. But that's why I like that shot. I laid up with a quarterback, one of the most accurate clubs in the game. And I came at the green with one of the most accurate short irons in the game. Very little adjustment. 3/4 of a backspin. Very little adjustment there, and can get that close to the cup every time. So that to me is if you play it that way, that's different than what a lot of people are going to play that hole. But I really like that approach to the hole. It's very consistent, it's very safe, and you have a serious shot every time of putting that in the hole. Now, if you're doing the backspin shot, I will say this. If you're going to do the backspin shot on this hole, learn how to do dunks. Because the deal is that if you can get your thorn up where you can engage this hillside where a lot of times, you're here's the flagpole, and you're trying to do this, or you're right behind the flagpole and you're trying to bring it back. The problem here is that this hill right here is super steep. And if you misjudge this, you're going to end up in that sand and you're going to end up in trouble. So if you try to do a dunk shot, here's your flagpole, you try and do the dunk and you apply all of the backspin and you miss the dunk, you're still going to come back towards the hole. You're not going to get all the way back towards the hole, but you're going to have a very short putt, and you gave yourself a shot at it with the dunk. And the thing about trying the dunk is that it's a pretty safe shot. The only downside is if you hit the flagpole high and it bounces off the flagpole, who knows where it's going to go. That's your only downside. But if you miss the cup and you don't get it in the hole, and then it's going to hit the ground, it's going to backspin, and then it'll come back towards it. It won't be too bad. All right, that was hole number 2 of the Fuji Open in Tuesday's qualifying round. Thanks for watching.